Welcome! Thank you for joining us today for the second video edition of the annual EIT Digital Conference. Hopefully this will also be the last time we get together for a video event, as we of course all hope to regularly connect in person again very soon. We received about 2,000 registrations from more than 100 countries. And you have come to the right place. You are connected to 90 minutes of innovation and education powered by the EIT Digital ecosystem, during which you will discover how we turn groundbreaking digital innovations into market successes, find out how we support European deep tech scale-ups to become global digital champions, and to develop digital talents into Europe's tech entrepreneurs of the future. My name is Eric Thelen. I have the honor to guide you through our program. If your organization does not yet belong to the EIT Digital ecosystem, please join us on our journey towards a strong digital Europe and towards realizing the European digital decade. And now, please welcome Willem Jonker, the CEO of EIT Digital, who will open today's event.
A warm welcome from my side. I'm really happy to meet you all online. Of course, let's hope next time we will meet physically again in Brussels. Nevertheless, we will bring you also online a very strong conference, and I really hope you will enjoy it. Digital is a key priority in Europe, not only of the European Union, but also of our member states. And you see enormous investments, and together with climate, digital is the transition driver of the coming decade. And of course, EIT Digital is well positioned to contribute in the realization of the European digital decade. Through its ecosystem, through its schools and education programs, and through its innovation funnel. The ecosystem, as you've just seen, spreads out all over Europe, and we're still opening new offices. And we bring together all the different actors that you need for innovation. You have our investors, you have our researchers, you have our entrepreneurs, you have our businesses. They're all there to jointly team up and make innovation happen. And this innovation funnel is really about spotting the opportunities, creating the opportunities, and growing the opportunities. We call that stand up, start up, scale up. And as you have seen, we have supported hundreds of ventures and startups and scale ups all over Europe. And we also have created hundreds of them in our innovation factory, together with the help of our large European ecosystem. And then, of course, talent, education, digital skills. So much needed to make the digital transition a reality in Europe. We're contributing through our schools, delivering the talent, attracting the talent to come to Europe to help us build that strong digital Europe.
Thank you very much, Willem. We do have something hot off the press here.
Thank you very much, Eric. Indeed, and that's how I would like to close my contribution. Please download our strategy. You can read more on our activities, our plans for the coming years, and it's available as we speak from our website. Enjoy the conference.
Thank you, Willem. We now turn to the world of deep tech scale-up companies and welcome for his keynote presentation Philip Baske, the founder and CEO of NanoTemper. NanoTemper is on a mission to provide disruptive nanotechnology to address measurement challenges in the life sciences industry, for example, to accelerate drug development. Philip started his company together with a fellow physics PhD student in 2008, directly coming out of university. They achieved profitability only 2 years later. By now, they have grown to 170 employees in 13 countries. They have won the German Innovation Prize and the German Founder Award. They have been named Innovator of the Year in the category for medium-sized companies, as well as one of Germany's most innovative companies multiple times. They are aware and proud of their scientific roots, and according to them, there's always a solution to every problem. Philip, we look forward to hearing your story and to getting to know NanoTemper.
Thank you for this nice introduction. So we are now successful, but our story has not been a straight line. So it was more a journey, an odyssey. So it all started when we proposed our technology to a famous German entrepreneur, one of the founders of the biggest German biotech company. And he arranged a date with us, and he was meeting us in the 4-star hotel of years. It's called Four Seasons in Munich. And he was sitting there in this fireplace room on an elevated chair. I think there was a flask on his table, it could be cognac. And he was literally looking down on us. So we proposed our business idea, our technology to him. And then this guy told us, "You will fail." So wow. So he told us, "What you plan, I have already tried and I failed. So it will not work at all. So you both will fail." So we were standing there. The somehow godfather of biotech told us we will fail. But we still believe in our technology and said, okay, he tried it. It does not mean that we will also fail. So we moved on. So we proposed our technology also to venture capital, but all said no to us. It's too risky. We don't know if you will have success. We will not invest in you. But we kept on moving. We developed the technology further and said we had the possibility to get a governmental grant, but we had to co-finance this. So we needed money for it. And there was a deadline to get this money, otherwise we will lose the grant. And the deadline was coming closer and we were not getting the money. So it was getting tighter and tighter, but we kept on moving forward. We believed in us. And then there was a business angel coming. He met us it was an open day, an open nanoscience day at the German Technology Museum in Munich. He met us there. And just a few weeks before the deadline, he approached us and said he believes in us. So this guy gave us his own private money. He invested his own money in us. So he really believed in us. And this really cheered us up. There is this guy really believing in us. And it was so great. So we know, okay, now we can prove this famous entrepreneur wrong. We can show that we will not fail. But still, we were in this deep tech situation. So now we have a technology, great technology from nanotech, but what is it good for? So where is the problem we can solve with it? Is it material science? Is it in diagnostics? Is it in defense? What is it good for? We didn't know. So we were trying around and then we said, okay, we now have to focus. If we will try everything, we will not make it. So if we don't risk to let something go, we will risk everything. So we had to focus. And we focused on biotech, on complex biopharmaceutical drugs, because here we have the USP, we were 10 times quicker than the other technologies. And more important, we needed 1,000 times less material. And material is very expensive in this field. So we said, okay, let's focus on biotech. Let's build a demonstrator to show that our technology works, to really prove them so that they can believe in us that it will work. And so we built this demonstrator, and then we did experiments at customer side. And then we were invited from a big shot to the Max Planck Institute in Göttingen. And this Max Planck Institute of Biophysics, it's top of a hill. The hill is called the Fassberg. And we were a young startup, Stefan and me, not a lot of money. So we took our demonstrator and we traveled to Göttingen by train. And then by bus, we took the bus up this hill. And then the bus stopped, the bus failed. And we thought, Jesus, what can go wrong? This is big shot and the bus is failing. So what we then did is we picked our demonstrator. It was around 15 kilograms. And we just carried this the last few kilometers up the hill to show it was a big shot. And experiments worked great, but still he was not really convinced. So there was something missing. We were not clear in our message. We had not defined with him what we had to show that he will buy. And since there was this next thing, so there was this Munich Biotech, Greylux. We also were a startup just a few years earlier. And they told us, okay, if you do this experiment and show us this data, we will buy. And so I can still remember it was in 2009, it was in December, 23rd of December, the day before Christmas. I was sitting in the basement on our setup doing the experiments and really pushed hard to get them done because I wanted to spend Christmas with my family. So strong motivations there. And then it worked. So we pushed it there, we just pushed it to the end, and then we really proved, hey, these guys are really 10 times quicker and 1,000 times less material. So we had the data with our demonstrator, and then they believed in us, they purchased it. And the good thing is they paid us some money in advance. Half of the price they paid us in advance. And we took this money, and with this money, we bought the components for the device. So we have sold the device before we had it somehow. And then we delivered it, we got the rest of the money. And from this profit, we bought the next 2 devices. And then from the profit of these, the next ones. So we somehow bootstrapped the company. And since we sold the first device, we are profitable. And this kept on going. So we are now one of these famous European hidden champions. We have subsidiaries from San Francisco over London, Munich, Bangalore, Shanghai, Peking to Tokyo. And we now have a really big vision. So we want to help to create a world in which every disease is treatable. And we can really do so. We have learned so in this pandemic. So our products, our technologies are used to fight COVID-19. They're used in vaccine research and also in the research for therapies. So, we enabled them to do new things because the new technologies, they can access untreatable diseases which were not possible to address before. So we somehow enable them to do new things. And also we speed up the drug discovery. And we have examples where we speed it up by several months. And this means a lot. So put you in the shoes of someone who is ill, who has a severe illness, and there is no drug. If you can just bring this drug to the market several months earlier, it really helps this person and it saves a lot of lives. So this drives us all forward. It's a big motivation for us all because we can really change lives with our technology. So it feels like we are somehow again in the beginning of a journey or still in our journey. And now we aim higher and higher. So we keep on pushing. And so my take-home message for you will be, if you're also deep tech startups, you will meet a lot of advisors. Okay, listen to them, but do your thing. So show your passion and really your belief in your product. So people will see and feel if you really believe. And if you do so, they will support you because they see your passion and your belief. And then they know you will keep track, you will push this thing forward. And try to fail early. It's not about failing, it's about standing up again and again. This is an important thing. Because if it's completely new and innovative, no one will understand you. So focus on one thing, take the risk. If you try everything, you will risk everything. Focus, say no to a lot of things, keep your passion and move on. And this will also enable you to build a really big new European champion. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Philip. This all sounds excellent. Thank you for the advice and encouragement. As we can all benefit from the work of your company, we are rooting for you. Good luck and much success for the continuation of this exciting story. And having been reminded once more about the importance of collaboration and networking, we now turn to the power of the ecosystem. Let's now see how specifically our partners address relevant challenges and achieve concrete results in their collaboration with EIT Digital. Our ecosystem discussion is led by two of the EIT Digital Node directors, Lea Myriläinen from Finland and Guillaume Tublan from France. Their guests from the EIT Digital ecosystem are Lucia Cerchia, managing partner at Jellify in Italy, and Simo Seinevirta, vice president and digital lead at ABB in Finland. Guillaume will kick off the conversation.
Thank you very much, Eric. It is my great pleasure to be with you here today. So let's now move directly to Italy to welcome our first speaker for this ecosystem session, Lucia Cerchia. So Lucia is a managing partner of Jellify, and we are very honored at EIT Digital that Jellify has been a partner for a bit more than a year now, both in Spain and Italy, and is also very active in our ecosystem. So Lucia, to start, could you just tell us a bit more about Jellify and what are the values that you see in being part of an ecosystem like EIT Digital?
Yes, guys. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. Hi, Guillaume. Okay, Jellify is a platform, is an innovation platform that creates a unique ecosystem involving corporates, B2B digital software startups, and investors. We invest in B2B startups and help them succeed and scale up thanks to what we call jellification. That means advisory services aiming to refine their offerings to facilitate access to the market and connect them with the corporate, okay? Moreover, Jellify, on the other side, support corporate looking to create repeatable and scalable innovation through open programs and the latest, let me say, digital service and product, in most of the cases involving startup from its portfolio. Working closely with the innovation stakeholders worldwide is in Jellify DNA. Jellify is a connector of an international network of entrepreneurial cluster and top talents. And EIT Digital is a fundamental partner in Jellify ecosystem, I would say from the very beginning of Jellify life in 2017. Since Jellify is focused on B2B digital, so we are perfect partners. First of all, for us, EIT Digital is an antenna on relevant trends that represent, from one side, corporate needs and challenges, and from the other side, a unique outlook at innovative solution from a startup ecosystem. And focusing specifically on this area, on the startups, Jellify and EIT Digital have joined their models to feed the Jellify investment deal flow. We periodically meet to evaluate opportunity of investment, in line, of course, with the access to finance services from EIT Digital. So we represent, okay, a source of funding for EIT Digital services. So it's a perfect match, a perfect marriage, I would say. And moreover, we highlight a startup from Jellify portfolio that could benefit from access to market services because they need to scale up beyond Italy, for example. So finally, we can say that we think that the ecosystem-driven model is the only way to make a startup scale up quickly. So we think that this piece of the ecosystem together with EIT Digital can be relevant for us and also for the future, for our European growth.
Thank you, Lucia. You see that we see that we are very active in our network. You gave some examples on the accelerator, but you've been involved personally as a jury member in one of the hackathon we made, EIT Digital against data against COVID-19. And also you are involved in some venture creation activities in different countries in Europe. So I would like to know from you if you could comment on some concrete evidence of achievements within our network and on the collaboration with us.
Exactly. I think that probably one of the achievements, okay, on top of the investment, of course, that are important achievement for us, okay, is an important key learning born from the dialogue with the startups. I don't want to say we understood, but we got a confirmation that we have to start from the very beginning. Okay, for example, EIT Digital is putting in place and actually periodically refresh educational programs in order to nurture the talent ecosystem. Okay, I don't want to say that every talent should create their own startup. Okay, because actually you can jump into a corporate and you can be an engineer or a manager or whatever in the future, but actually with a different leadership style, with what we call an entrepreneurship mindset. Okay, and so actually we are now designing with the EIT Digital team here in Italy a program that is focused specifically on talented people in order to nurture, in this case, the corporate ecosystem with the talented people with this entrepreneurial mindset. Then, if in some cases they will fund the startup, we are happy, of course, okay? And actually, we are already seeing results of this spirit that we are injecting into the ecosystem. And actually, for us, I would also say that is also an important source for our recruitment plan, because we are just to give an idea, just in the last 5 months, we hired 60 people, okay? And we are a startup as well. So for us, EIT Digital is also access to an ecosystem of talents, okay? If you don't start from talents, we can be concrete, okay? We can build an ecosystem in a very practical way, let me say.
Okay, thank you. To summarize, Lucia, if I asked you 2 or 3 words to describe the value of being part of an ecosystem like EIT Digital, what would these words be?
Okay, first of all, okay, ecosystem itself, that means ecosystem-driven model. We think that the ecosystem-driven model is the only way to make the ecosystem growth, including corporates, investors, and startups, first. Second, be concrete, be practical, okay? We don't have to speak about the sex of the angels, about, okay, new strategy, blah, blah, blah. That's for sure. We have to execute. And honestly, we are totally in line with the EIT Digital team, because we usually, every time we align each other, we speak about very practical initiative that we can deploy tomorrow morning in a corporate or in an educational program, whatever, not just ideas, not just blah, blah. For me, be concrete is crucial because otherwise we waste our time.
Thank you very much, being concrete. I like that very much. Thank you very much for sharing all these precious insights with all of us, Lucia. And now let's move to Finland to welcome our second speaker for this session, this ecosystem session. I call my Finnish colleague Lea Merilänen for that. Lea, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Guillaume. And I'm glad to, let's say, welcome Simo Säynevirta from ABB, Vice President of Digital Lead at ABB, to the event. So ABB has been working approximately maybe 3 years with EIT Digital, and during that time ABB has been very active in the EIT Digital innovation activities, education services, being part of the summer school, master school business cases, and also acquired talent from EIT Digital Master School. So welcome, Simo.
Thank you.
Could you tell us, Simo, a bit more about ABB in general, and also a bit more about being part of EIT Digital ecosystem as well?
Yeah, so for you, ABB is not the household name. No, from a kind of company. And what we do, we energize the transformation of the society and the industries to a more sustainable, productive future. And how we do that, we apply our electrification and automation technologies in various contexts. And then the key aspect there is the digital facet. So how do we combine software? How do we combine the intelligence into these systems so that we achieve these sustainable, productive systems? And some examples include, for instance, EV charging infrastructure for electric cars, or robotics for the industry. These are the areas we are working in. And why we are now with the EIT Digital is, of course, this combination that Lucia already was talking about. So we are interested in the new talent. That's one facet of it. So we need the people who have this essentially the digital DNA already from the school. But then even though we are a large company, we cannot solve this challenge alone. So we need also the startups, we need the new enterprises to push the boundary together with us. And there, what Lucia also mentioned before, the ecosystem aspect is actually the key. So you need to combine the expertise, you need to combine the knowledge you have in the company together with what the partners can bring in from the outside.
Thank you, Simo. And just a notation that basically there are some a little bit of networking problems could be here, but let's try to cope with them, some digital issues. Could you, Simo, comment or maybe elaborate a little bit more on a specific topic or achievement that you have done with EIT Digital lately?
So what we have been working on are what is today a hot topic, with digital twins. So how do we kind of create a digital replica of the physical things that are around us? And then this year we have worked on what we call kind of extension, which is green digital twins. So how do we model the sustainability of these systems that we have around us? And then how we use those digital capability to optimize, for instance, industrial systems so that they are more sustainable. And this we have done together with actually two SME companies. They are not anymore just fresh startups, but they are small companies, one from Finland, one from Germany. And we have together developed kind of an optimization environment where we can simulate and optimize these systems together. And in conjunction with this, we have then combined this education activity and business model innovation activity. So we, for instance, posted a challenge for the students so that when we take this new service to a market together with these partners, what would be the best approach so that we can make it scale?
Exactly, and this is a very good example of a project where a large company works together with smaller SMEs and together with EIT Digital to get concrete results that can be delivered to the market in Europe. How did EIT Digital help you in this particular collaboration project that you mentioned?
Well, it was actually in these all facets. So we have new talent coming in from the EIT Digital Master School, for instance. That's one part of it. And then the other part is that these companies, they are part of the EIT Digital ecosystem. So it helped us to find the right partners for this co-innovation activity that we drive together. And then also I would say that it gives kind of a little bit of a, what would be the right word, kind of as sparring partners from the outside, so that we have other partners who are working in a similar context, and we can just compare notes that how they are doing the things that we are aiming for.
Excellent. So as a conclusion, Simo, how would you describe what the EIT Digital ecosystem brings to ABB in general?
Well, it brings the three aspects. It brings the talent, the digital people with the digital DNA, born with that from the education side. It brings the innovation ecosystem, which extends the capability that even large company doesn't have in-house. And then it brings this innovation spirit that really pushed the acceleration button on these activities.
Thank you, Simo and ABB for your kind answers. And now moving back to Eric.
A big thank you to our wonderful contributors for this ecosystem discussion, Lucia and Simo, as well as to Leah and Guillaume for highlighting with concrete examples how the EIT Digital community works together to accelerate digital innovation and to facilitate the creation of the next generation of European digital ventures. For these European digital ventures, we do not only need great ideas and technologies. As we heard, we also need outstanding people, innovators and entrepreneurs. EIT Digital is very aggressively addressing this challenge. So before starting our live conversation on education, let's hear from some outstanding innovators and entrepreneurs from our community about how EIT Digital, in partnership with universities, grows digital talents into Europe's tech entrepreneurs of the future.
I am co-founder of Entremo. We started Entremo with 4 of my other co-founders who were also EIT Digital Master School students. And we are developing a remote monitoring device just like this one on my wrist to more efficiently monitor patients.
I'm an EIT Digital alumni. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Lord, and we develop mass personalization technology for cosmetic products. And we have just launched our first product to the market, which is a custom-made liquid lipstick.
I graduated from the EIT Digital Doctoral School in 2018. And right after this, I started my company, Packet AI. So today I'm co-founder and CTO of Packet AI. At Packet AI, we use machine learning and AI to automate management of IT infrastructures.
The EIT Digital ecosystem has been extremely helpful to us. That's how we found our first partners with whom we could participate in an innovation activity by EIT Digital to fight the battle against COVID-19. And we are now continuing our journey with the development of the second version of the product.
Being an alumni is really beneficial to be in part of the EIT Digital ecosystem because we're not only equipped to become an entrepreneur, but also supported to get connected with the partners and thrive through the whole help of the ecosystem.
We officially launched the company Packet AI in January 2019, and very quickly we grew from 2 people to 16 today in less than 18 months. In the end of 2019, we raised our first funding. That was the 2 million seed round. Today we are serving a few clients, and we're going to expand our client base outside of France and also raise our Series A. So the EIT Digital will be very useful through their network in our expansion outside of France because they have nodes in multiple countries.
For our conversation about entrepreneurial education facilitated by the EIT Digital Academy, I'm happy to introduce EIT Digital Education Director, Roberto Prieto, and the head of the EIT Digital Master School, Andrea Paoli. They are joined by leading representatives from 2 of our excellent partner universities, who are also very active in innovation and entrepreneurship themselves. Paolo Cremonesi is professor at the Politecnico di Milano in Italy, and the coordinator of the EIT Digital Master School double degree program in data science. Gerd Jervan is professor at Tallinn University of Technology in Estonia, and the dean of the School of Information Technologies. Roberto will get the discussion going.
Thank you, Eric, for your introduction. I'm very glad to be here with you today, and I'm glad that you joined us for this event. Yes, as Eric introduced, we have 2 very good participants today with us, and what we would like is to explore 2 different perspectives of what we are doing in terms of creating talent and provided education. One perspective, one angle we will like to explore it is from the point of view of the students and the parents we are providing. And the other one is about how our partners might benefit and might interact with us. That's why we have these 2 speakers. First one is Paolo Cremonesi. As I said before, he works at the Politecnico di Milano. I want to explore and to ask him a few questions about how he sees the quality of the parents and why the students are benefit from our parents. And starting what we have listened before, and that's what really motivates us when we listen these testimonials from our former alumni that are providing these comments. Might you do provide us with some comments about what you have listened from those testimonials? Paolo, please.
With pleasure. Thanks, Roberto. Well, I can summarize by telling you that I'm proud of being a professor when I see the braveness and talent of these students. And I'm lucky of being an entrepreneur working with them.
Good summary on that. Well, next, to what extent the EIT Digital Entrepreneurial Education is a key instrument to realize the digital decade? And why do you think the EIT Digital students are different than other students?
Well, society does not benefit from ideas if ideas are not translated into solutions. So EIT Digital Education helps students turn ideas into solutions. When I co-founded Moviri more than 20 years ago, I was an inexperienced nerd with a lot of ideas, thinking that these ideas alone would change the world. It took me years of trial and error to understand how difficult it is to put ideas into practice. If I had received the same education that our EIT Digital students are getting now, things would have been much easier for me and much faster. And students from Politecnico di Milano are incredible in terms of technical knowledge and creativity. However, technical excellence alone is not enough. And distorting a famous proverb, the hood makes the monk. So soft skills are the hoods of EIT Digital students.
Okay, good. Well, we listened to Lucia before mentioning about this entrepreneurial mindset that we need to create. And well, you are aligned with that and with your comments. And that is exactly what we are doing through all our programs. And that's why we think that might be different. Do you agree? What do you think that makes our programs unique and different from others?
Well, the EIT Digital program is an elite program for many reasons. For the initial selections of the candidates, for how students are tutored day by day throughout all of their journey, and for the unique blend of classroom education and industrial internships.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Good. Well, you created the first startup, as far as I know, from the Politecnico di Milano, and you were not able to attend our programs. So if I asked you now, how do you think that the programs enable the students to be well equipped to set up their own digital ventures? What is your answer to that?
Well, EIT Digital students from day one learn to share ideas and to work together, to consider themselves not as isolated talents, but as a wonderful team. And this makes the difference. I believe it.
Okay, good. I would like also well, Politecnico di Milano is very active in participating with us of course, in the master school and the summer schools as well. You know the programs, you are coordinating that from Politecnico di Milano, so you know very well on the benefits that students are receiving. And I bet that you have many examples of students that work with you. But if I asked you for one or two examples that you might highlight among all them, to represent the outcomes that we are providing to our students, may you provide us with a few examples, or one or two at least?
Well, I can make a personal example. Probably the most important example is that 2 years ago in Moviri, we founded and we launched a new startup on the fashion market. And the head of this new product, of this new company, is Federico Sallemi. And Federico, at the time, he was a young graduate student from the EIT Digital Master School. So despite being freshly graduated, Federico was very good from day one to lead a team of engineers, of developers and consultants, and to lead also the discussion with customers. So this, for me, is the most successful example.
Okay, it's a good example to illustrate what we do. So, well, in summary, I've seen that, well, we are very aligned on what we are doing, and through the testimonials we have listened before and your comments, we see that we are, focusing on the entrepreneurial mindset of our students, trying to benefit them. But let's now move on now to explore a little bit more on the benefits that universities might get from us working with us as partnerships. And that's why I want to give the floor to Andrea Paoli, that is, as said before, the head of the Master School, to ask a few questions to Gervan. So thank you, Paolo, and let's move to Andrea. Andrea, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Roberto, for your introduction. As you said, our education programs bring together the top technical universities in Europe to deliver the best digital entrepreneurial education. And one of these universities is Tallinn University of Technology. And today I'm delighted to introduce Professor Gert Järvan, who is Professor of Dependable Computer Systems and Dean of the School of Information Technologies at Caltech. So Gert, first of all, I would like to welcome you and thank you very much for joining us today. And to start, can you please tell us briefly about your university and also what do you think about what you have heard from Paolo? So can you give us your comments on what Paolo just said?
Thank you, Andrea, and welcome to everyone. It's really great to be here, part of the EIT Digital Conference, and talking about Caltech. And we are the only technical university in Estonia, which means that we are solely responsible of teaching and doing research in several disciplines here in Estonia, which is a very small country by itself. So we have a lot of international collaboration. And I very much agree with everything what was said here earlier by Roberto and Paolo, that in a modern world, one thing is to have the technical skills and tool sets, but another thing which is very important to have a very open mindset, very entrepreneurial mindset, because that's how the world is progressing. We might have excellent engineers in large companies, but if those excellent engineers can also turn their ideas into some kind of new products and solutions, then everyone would benefit. The large companies by itself creating new ventures. We are having the new companies, new SMEs, new startups coming into the scene, and society as a whole, because we are developing solutions which were not available before, and that's kind of a very dynamic mindset which is coming out from EIT schools. I think that's something what is really beneficial for all parties.
Thank you very much, Gert, for sharing your thoughts. And now, can you please describe your concrete experience in collaborating with EIT Digital? So just providing some example, how they happen, and specifically, can you tell us how is your collaboration with EIT Digital enabling your university to deliver the best entrepreneurial education?
Yeah, so our longest experience has been with EIT Digital Summer Schools. And they have been an extremely interesting journey, because we have had some magnificent students who have been working here with the problems what we have been providing. And the problems have been really coming from our everyday life, from industry, from public sector. And it's fascinating to see how those problems are solved. So the students are not only solving the problems what we are presenting to them, but they are actually finding even new problems to solve. And that's interesting to see, because they are really having kind of an open mindset. Okay, let's see what's happening here and let's try to solve those problems. So in those summer schools, we have been covering different topics from starting from e-health, going to the urban mobility, going to the e-governance solutions. And what is interesting to see how the students from different cultural backgrounds and from different countries, they are also seeing the problem very differently. So when you're forcing them to work together, you start to see kind of a new synergy happening. And that has been really exciting and a very interesting journey. And actually the solutions that have been developed here, I know that some of those ideas have finally turned real companies, real services. So that's something what we are exactly looking. And now here in October, we are going to organize a deep hack together with different partners also with EIT raw materials, for example. So it's a cross-kick activity with an idea how to see how we can use digital solutions on reducing the carbon footprint. So I'm very excited to see what's going to happen there.
Very interesting, Gerd. Thank you very much for providing these concrete examples on the collaboration with EIT Digital. Now, can you please unfold on how this collaboration is enabling your institution to answer the needs of today's workforce and the economy in terms of programs? So in other words, what are the main outcomes for students in relation to your examples that you just provided?
So as someone is saying, Estonia is not a small country. Estonia is a very small country. So by definition, we have to collaborate with external partners. And for us, obviously, the biggest benefit is EIT Digital ecosystem, because it includes universities, it includes small startups, SMEs, large corporations. So the students have kind of a very wide offering of different partners, different services, different activities. And that's something which is very difficult to achieve by your own. And therefore, for us, definitely the number one keyword is ecosystem. To have collaboration partners, to have the new ideas coming in, and hopefully when the world is opening again, also kind of a very vivid movement of people across Europe.
Thank you very much, Gerd, for sharing your experience with us today and also for sharing your thoughts on the collaboration with EIT Digital. Now I would like to leave the floor again to Eric to wrap up the education section. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both to the representatives of our fantastic partner universities, Paolo and Gerd, as well as to Roberto and Andrea, for showing us how the EIT Digital Academy and its partners deliver entrepreneurial education as well as digital skills, and by doing so, respond to the workforce needs of today's economy. We now dive deeper into the topic of innovation and entrepreneurship, which in EIT Digital is represented by the EIT Digital Innovation Factory and the EIT Digital Accelerator. In the upcoming session, you will hear prominent examples of what is produced in the Innovation Factory, what is sped up in the accelerator, and how that all works in practice. The upcoming conversation about innovation and entrepreneurship will demonstrate how EIT Digital, in collaboration with venture capitalists, supports the growth of your scale-up companies. The conversation is led by EIT Digital's Chief Innovation Officer, Shahab Nastar, and by Maria Costera, the head of the EIT Digital Innovation Factory. Shahab will start the discussion, and he will do so by introducing our guest speakers for this session.
Thanks, Eric. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, depending on where you are. We have an exciting session on innovation for you this morning. We have an entrepreneur and we have an investor. And I will be co-presenting with my colleague Maria. I'd like to welcome to the stage Pierre Régnier, the CEO of Velco, and Gitte Bedford, Vice President at Robert Bosch Venture Capital. I'm gonna interact with Pierre to begin with, and Maria will interview Gitte. So, Pierre, good morning, good afternoon. I think you're on mute, but while you're unmuting, I will just say a few words. You are the young CEO of Velco, you're not even 30. Velco is a company launched in 2016, so a pretty young company that is going through a high growth phase, currently scaling up. And we have been supporting you at the EIT Digital Accelerator. Pierre, as a first question, can you please overview your company and the connections you have with us at EIT Digital, please?
Yes, thanks a lot. Hi, everyone. So my name is Pierre. So what we do actually at Velco, Velco supports mobility stakeholders with a connected solution for urban mobility. So we secure it, and also we are gonna do to make it sustainable. We target especially the e-bike, e-kick scooters and moped market. We provide to our customers, so the fleet manager and the manufacturers, our hardware and software solutions to secure and easy maintain and also have a safer vehicles for the rider. So actually, we aim to become the European leaders in connectivity solution for light electric vehicle, LEV, so by 2024. And to give you some key figures, the company has been created in 2016 by three co-founders, Romain, Johnny, and me. Actually, we are more than 40 people on the company. 75% are working on the R&D team. So we have a large R&D team to launch our solution on the market. And also we have different offices, entities in Rotterdam, Frankfurt, and Nantes in France, where are the headquarters. And also actually in 1 year, we equipped more than 40,000 units. So we plan to double this KPI, each year. And concerning the EIT Digital, we are in touch by the end of 2029, and we work with them in 2020 to start our last fundraising that we close in March. So I will detail it after.
My next question has to do with your main challenges as a European tech company. Obviously, you're scaling up, you're expanding internationally, you are already internationally present, I think. You have this challenge of maybe finding customers, partners, resources, investors. Can you tell us about your challenges as a tech company in Europe?
Yeah, so today we face three main challenges. The first one is to hire people. Good sales guys, good engineers mainly. Also find the right partners to support our growth. I mean by good partners, for example, some electronic manufacturer services, for example, to produce our product. And the last one is how to well organize the company to grow our organization and make our business European, so think global. So, for example, for the recruitment, we try to hire a lot of sales and engineers, but you know, especially today, it's quite hard to find these people who know the technology and also are able to sell it. Concerning the second thing, so to find the right partners. You know, we grow very quickly, so we need to find partners which can support and help us to grow at our different steps on the European market and also outside the European market. And because we're expanding our business in Europe, so we are running to open different countries in terms of sales marketing, and we need to well organize the Velco company, so our organization, to support our sales in European countries. So as you know, we are a small company which is growing quickly with a European vision, and also we want to think globally, so to go to the US market and Asia markets. And so to do that, we need to scale also our organization. So these are our three main challenges actually.
Pierre, now I'd like you to tell us more in details and very concretely about your EIT digital journey. You touched upon it briefly. Let's deep dive on it. Can you tell us how the EIT Digital Accelerator has been supporting you? I'm sure our audience would like to know about your interactions with the Accelerator team members throughout your fundraising process, for example.
Yeah. So when we meet the EIT Digital team to help us on our fundraising, so there was 3 different steps. So we were looking with the EIT Digital Finance team to select the targeted VC, the targeted venture capital for our fundraising. It was the first step. And we're working also on the deck, the executive summary, and also the retro planning of the fundraising. The second step, after to do the first one, so the EIT Digital team made a first approach to the VC. So they organize the different meeting and advise me also on the pitch, the approach to them, the negotiation, also the habits on the targeted venture capital. And after several months, a short list of the different VC who were interested to work with us were prepared, and we organized also the second round to get a term sheet to them. So this was the second step, and the last step was to conclude the deal. So the EIT advised me, but at this step you have to work with directly with your lawyer and also the VC lawyer to conclude the deal. But the EIT digital team support me also on the negotiation and what also we can accept or not compared to the other deals. Which were closed during the last few months or so. So this was our journey with the EIT digital team concerning our fundraising. So we closed a fundraising of 5 million euro in end of February this year. So this was our goals with EIT Digital.
Thank you and congratulations on that. Thank you for being also very concrete on your journey with the EIT Digital Accelerator team. I'm going to hand it over now to Maria and Gita. Maria?
Hello, everyone. I have the absolute pleasure of welcoming Gita Bedford. I first thought about sharing how impressive Gita's career has been at Robert Bosch Fund, but in the end, I decided to highlight a common cause we both share, the Women in Tech movement, incentivizing women to join the tech space, especially as founders. Gita always provides a very simple but very wise advice to women. Don't be afraid. Good morning, Gita. We all know Robert Bosch as a company and their products, but I would like to ask you if you could please provide us a general overview of the fund. You're muted, Gita.
I am indeed. The problem with Zoom is you muted twice. I unmuted myself once, which is not enough. Like was said earlier, keep trying, right? RBVC is the venture arm of Bosch. We have been around for more than a decade, 13, 14 years almost now. We're actually a global deep tech investor, so we have offices not just in Germany, where I am based, but we also have offices in the US, Israel, and in China. We tend to invest from Series A onwards, and we can lead, co-lead, follow, and we are to some degree a financial investor with added benefits that come through our connection to Bosch.
Interesting. That leads me immediately to my next question. We always know deal flow, the usual problem. The normal question, how do you scout for promising companies?
Yes, it's a very good question, of course, and if you have a global footprint, it's even more of a challenge. Yes. And so, of course, you do the usual. I mean, sometimes you're fortunate and the startups find you. Of course, you get the introductions through your network, whether it's investors, entrepreneurs, or industry contacts that you know. You attend conferences. You go to pitch events, and of course, then you also have really valuable partners like the EIT Digital that actually introduce those startups to you.
Okay, so you put me on a silver platter. You know, I couldn't waste this opportunity.
My pleasure.
You know, I couldn't waste this opportunity to tease you a bit on this tiny subject. What has been your experience with EIT Digital as an investor, namely regarding a certain company that had not been on your radar, and we're so proud of it.
Yes, it's very true. I know what you're hinting to because it's actually a personal deal of mine, and just to give a little bit of background, we had been looking at several companies in the OT security space. So that is security for industrial control systems. And we've seen companies in the US, in Israel, in France, in Germany. And then EIT Digital came along and said, well, you should speak to a company called Security Matters in the Netherlands. And I think because I know that the deal flow that comes from EIT Digital is very solid, good quality. I took the call, and in the call, I was surprised. I had found my hidden gem, and we went along, we invested in the company, and it was actually a very successful investment for us. So thank you for the introduction again.
So to summarize, and you just highlighted already a bit of this aspect, but what is that you value the most in the interaction between our two organizations?
Yes, indeed, I already touched upon it. Well, there are several aspects to it. I think the pan-European reach is really, really helpful for us, because we do have our offices only in Germany, and of course we're not in the Silicon Valley where you meet everybody for coffee in a nearby coffee shop. So you do need someone who helps you to find those hidden gems. And because EIT Digital has such a broad European coverage, and that is extremely helpful. What we also value highly is the good quality of deal flow. So we are deep tech investors. So we are looking really for strong differentiators on the technical side. Also, the problems that they address are real problems. And we've noticed that deals coming out of EIT Digital are really exactly what we need. And the other aspect to it, but I think it's probably also you're doing to some degree, the pitches tend to be or usually of really high quality. These guys that come to us and talk to us, they actually know what a VC wants. So they're addressing all the question that we have already in their deck. So it's a pleasure to work with them.
Well, thank you so much. Perfect words. Thank you for having joined us here today, and let's aim for many more successful deals together.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you. That was a great conversation about the supply as well as the demand side of innovation and entrepreneurship. A big thanks to our speakers, Pierre and Gitte, as well as to Shahab and Maria. So let me try something. Since we had just Shahab as a moderator, I would like to see whether I can play back to Shahab a little bit as an interviewee, because we had already heard about a couple of specific success stories. Velco, Gitte hinted at one of the other ones, Security Matters. Maybe you can share with us, as the innovation officer responsible also for the accelerator, what were some other recent successes of the accelerator that are worthwhile highlighting and that maybe the audience could be interested in?
Sure, Eric, thanks a lot. Well, I might take a slightly different perspective here, because I want to talk to you about some of our success stories, very recent success stories that also people can find on our website in the news section. We recently learned that a company called WiseBat that was founded by an EIT Digital doctoral student about 5 years ago, was acquired by ST Microelectronics. WiseBat is in the field of industrial IoT, battery downtime estimation, founded by Wilfried Dron, a French national that is very well known in our community. And they have been partnering up with ST for a long time. They were in the partner program of ST for a long time. And finally, we announced with Wilfried that the company had been acquired. I think for me, this is a very interesting success story. There was a lot of discussion about integration of education and innovation, about bringing talent to the market and to the big corporates. So by this acquisition, my interpretation of it is that it's bringing a lot of talent with WiseBat, Wilfried, Marion, and their team to ST. So this is definitely a very most recent success story, because it was announced literally last week. So that's the first thing I'd like you to mention. The other one that I would like to mention is an innovation activity. As you know, we have our innovation factory that is run by Maria. And we have innovation activities that run typically in a 12-month cycle. This year, we have, I want to highlight one of the innovation activities that created a startup already, and the startup is called AI for Alpha. It's in the domain of digital finance, and it's about asset management using AI for essentially wealth managers. And AI for Alpha, simultaneously, they launched the company and also raised funds immediately with early stage seed or pre-seed investors. That is a great combination. That is, we are pushing for more examples like this because you have the EIT digital support, you have the investor, you have the entrepreneur, and it's a triangle that works extremely well. So kudos to Beatrice Guez, the startup's CEO. Turns out that she's really French, but that's a coincidence, just like Wilfried. And yeah, so these are two recent success stories I can think of from the innovation funnel. Eric?
To look at the Innovation Factory and some specific successes there, as well as on the accelerator. And those of the partners who are connected today that follow us for many years already, they may have seen Wilfried on the stage of the doctoral school celebrations. They have seen him present at our conferences in the trade show area there. And now they see that the company has merged into a partner organization, ST Microelectronics. So great stories. Thank you very much, Shahab. And for the audience, we now know how EIT Digital connects venture capital investors with promising digital deep tech startups, and by doing so accelerates investments into digital technology in Europe. On the topic of digital technology in Europe, we are especially honored to welcome our next guest for our closing keynote. Mark Boris Andrijanic is the recently appointed Minister for Digital Transformation in Slovenia. Since April 2021, he chaired the Strategic Council for Digitalization of the Government of the Republic of Slovenia. Between 2016 and 2021, Mr. Andrijanic worked for the transportation company Uber, most recently as the head of public policy for Central and Eastern Europe. Minister Andrijanic joins us during the Slovenian presidency of the EU Council, and in the context of his appointment as minister, the following quote is attributed to him. "We know what we have to do. We now need to roll up our sleeves." Minister Andrijanic, thank you for joining us. We look forward to your keynote speech.
Thank you so much for your kind introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be with you all. Today, I wish to talk about a vision of Europe that's competitive, entrepreneurial, innovative, and optimistic about the future. That's because we, the Europeans, need a strong Europe more than ever, and so does the world. Now, the good news is that Europe excels at creating and exporting forward-looking regulation. Just look at GDPR or environmental legislation. They have been copied all over the world, and I think that's something we should all be very proud of. The not so good news is that we are not nearly as good at creating and exporting digital services. For years, Europe has been lagging behind the US and China when it comes to economic dynamism and technological progress. If you just look at the top 30 global tech companies, only one is European. That's German SAP, that was established almost 50 years ago. In the past decade, over 600 companies around the world went on to become unicorns. Only 1 out of 8 is European. There is no doubt that we need comprehensive legislation that regulates digital markets and services in order to ensure fair competition, as well as to safeguard our core values. However, we also need to create an environment that will breed the digital champions of the future. How do we get there is, of course, a $1 trillion question. We must complete the single market. We must complete it, especially when it comes to digital and other services. That will allow our startups to scale their operations across the continent without having to hire a legion of lawyers. We also need to boost research funding and encourage closer collaboration between our top-notch universities and the industry. And last but not least, we need to make it much, much easier for businesses to raise capital and attract top talent from around the world. To be honest, the EU is making significant progress on many of these fronts. Creating the European single market for data will be a game changer for European digital economy. We're also increasing funding for strategic projects in AI and other key areas. Moreover, the Recovery and Resilience Facility, worth over 670 billion euros, represents a historic opportunity to supercharge digital and green transition. Bridging the digital divide, modernizing healthcare, and greening our economies will definitely be top priorities. A number of European countries are racing ahead already, proving that it can be done. Estonia, for example, is the home of 4 tech unicorns, while Sweden boasts global giants like Spotify and Klarna. Slovenia has decided a long time ago to elevate Europe's digital transformation to the very top of our presidency agenda. Together with our partners, we are working very, very hard to achieve meaningful progress on key legislative proposals, including the Artificial Intelligence Act, Data Governance Act, and Digital Services and Markets package, of course. We believe these regulations have an enormous potential to make Europe's cyberspace safer, smarter, and fairer for all of our citizens and businesses. But no matter how ambitious and determined Europe is, we should bear in mind the global nature of today's digital space. We need, therefore, strong transatlantic partnership to tackle issues ranging from cybersecurity to AI development and tech regulation. The EU and the US will never agree on every detail, but we are bound by common values, economic interests, and strategic challenges. The creation of the EU-US Trade and Technology Council in June was therefore the right step forward. And the Slovenian presidency of the Council of the EU is committed to making it work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister Andrijanic, and much success on your mission. And that takes us towards the end of today's program.
Congratulations for an amazing conference.
Thank you so much. So that takes us to the end of today's program, and I would like to welcome back Willem Jonker. You've met him earlier, CEO of EIT Digital. So Willem, what do you think about what you've heard today?
Well, Eric, what we've seen today is the power we have in Europe, the power of the ecosystem, the talent, the money is there. You heard it say by the minister. So there is, I would say, not be a time in history so far where we were so well positioned and focused on this whole digital innovation and transition. And we have delivered. You've seen various examples, and that has led to awareness. And we know we have our challenges, but at the same time, the opportunities are widely there. And I could not agree more with the minister. It's a matter of rolling up our sleeves, continuing the momentum that we have created in the past decade, and just create the impact that Europe needs in this digital transition. So when I see this, I have a lot of confidence. I see our young, talented people coming forward, stepping up, building their companies. I mean, we saw the example mentioned here in the previous keynote by Philip. I mean, it's impressive what can be done from a basement just on Christmas Eve into a big company in Europe. So we can do it. I see the energy. I'm very much inspired. I hope you all are. And I call on you to join us, because this is a matter of investing, doing it together, and then you can see great results coming out. So for me, really enjoying it and looking forward to meet you, hopefully physically very soon now. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Willem. And today's program has certainly inspired you and has further increased your interest in EIT Digital. So there's good news. EIT Digital is an open knowledge and innovation community. This means that you can join us and be part of the next phase of our journey towards a strong digital Europe and towards realizing the European digital decade. On our website, eitdigital.eu, you can find information on how to join and on how to get in touch. Thank you for participating today. We look forward to seeing you again very soon.